Hi guys, for this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make the bean stitch purse, and it's a really easy stitch to master. For this tutorial you're going to need worsted weight yarn, size 4 ply for the US and 10 ply for Australia. You're also going to need a 5mm hook or a size H hook, and to make the purse you're going to at least need 2 full skeins of yarn. So to start off, you want to chain 45. So chain 45, and I'll see you back here in a moment. Okay, I didn't chain completely 45 just for the purposes of the tutorial. You have to have an odd number. So I have 15 here, but you go ahead and do 45. Now to get started to do the bean stitch, you want to insert your hook into the third chain from the hook. So count 1, 2, 3, and insert your hook in the third chain from the hook, and pull up a loop. Now you want to yarn over, go back into that same stitch for the second time, pull up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, go back into that same stitch, and pull up a loop, 6 loops on your hook. Once you have your 6 loops, you want to yarn over and pull through all the 6 loops, and then chain 1 to secure. You will want to skip 1 stitch, and then in the next you'll want to repeat your bean stitch. By going in, you'll be inserting your hook into this stitch 3 times. So this is your first time, yarn over, go in a second time, then yarn over and go in through 1 more time, and that will give you your 6 loops that you need. And again, you want to pull through all 6 loops, then chain 1, skip a stitch, and then repeat. And you will want to do this all the way down your chain of 45. Do a bean stitch, chain 1, skip a stitch, do a bean stitch, chain 1, then skip a stitch, and just keep repeating that all the way down your chain of 45. Now I just got to the end of my row, just pulled through all 6 loops of my last bean on the row, then I'll chain 1 to secure. But then when you're ready to turn your work, you want to chain 1 more. So at the end of each round, you will be doing a total of 2 chains. Chain 1 to secure the bean, and then chain 1 to turn. Now, each bean has 2 stitches on the top. See, 1 and 2. 1 being the one that's secured, and then 1 to the side above a bigger stitch. We're going to be using this side with the bigger stitch. And I'm going to go in, because there's like 2 sections of the stitch. It has a piece of yarn through it. So I usually go through the top part of it and start my bean stitch inside this top larger space. Chain 1, then find the next large space here and go into that top. See how there's a line in between? I usually use the top one. You just go right in, pull up a loop, and start your bean stitch here. And you want to continue working in this stitch every round. You'll always be working from now on into this stitch. You're just doing your bean stitch and you're chaining 1 to secure. You want to do this all the way down your row. And like I said, if you want to make a wider purse, you're using smaller yarn or something like that, just chain an odd number of chains. Now the very last one here can be hard to see, but there is 1 more space on the end here. Pull through all loops, chain 2, and turn. And you will repeat round 2 until you get to round 52. I should say round 53. So you will do a complete 52 rows, and then for round 53 I'll show you what you need to do next. Now mine at this point, it reached about 45 centimeters or 18 inches long and about 35 centimeters or 14 inches wide when I got done. So you might want to keep this in mind if you're wanting to use a different kind of yarn and it's smaller and you have to chain more at the beginning. So maybe these measurements will help you stay within the same size bag that I have. So continue this round 2 until you get done with your 52nd row. Okay, when you get done with your square, or it's not really a square, more of a rectangle now, put it, fold it in half like this, and then you want to come from your corner here, and you want to mark over two rows. So you have one bean stitch on each side here, and you have one bean stitch that looks like it's at the bottom. So I'll have a total of 5 stitches here in the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th bean stitch is here. And I'm going to place a marker here because this is where I want to make my T connection, which is like that. So I'm going to get my blue color, and if you start with the puff stitch in the corner, which I am not really on this, yeah I am, start with the puff stitch on this side. So let me get closer here. I'm starting with the puff stitch on this side, and with this dark color I know it's hard to see, but I'll show you on one on. See, if this was my very first stitch, I would just go in through the actual side stitches of the puff stitch and make my connection that way. And that's what I'm going to do with my first stitch here, since my first stitch is a puff stitch. And I'm going to go through my other stitch on this side, which is kind of a hole here. I'm going to go through this stitch to connect to a single crochet connection by pulling through one side and then the next side. Single crocheting. You're single crocheting these two things together. So you'll be going on into one stitch on this side and then one stitch on the next side, like that. And doing a single crochet. I'll go down a little further here with more color and then I'll show you again. Okay, so you have a place here where you would normally be doing your bean stitches in, you know, like here. If it was going the other direction, you could easily be putting bean stitches in there. So I'm going through this one, and then there's another one equal on this side. But even if it's not equal and you have this kind of stitch, which is under the bean stitch, then you can just do the same on this side. Go under that bean on that side. Just use the stitches to single crochet this side closed. Single crochet is so much stronger of a connection. I got a new light, which I'm liking it because it's brighter, but it seems to be leaving a lot of shadow. I'm not sure I like that very much. Anyway, I'm hoping to be moving soon and hopefully getting a new office, and hopefully I'll be bringing you better quality videos. But until then, I gotta use what I got. So hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. Still make sure you go through each. Let me back out a little bit because it's fighting to stay in frame. Okay. Still just going. There we go. Still just going through those stitches here. Going through this one and the one on the other side. Just find a good place on both sides to single crochet into. Till you come up to your marker again. Okay, then I'm going to do single crochet here where I marked. And then you want to push it to where you have even proportion on each side. And since I crochet from right to left, I'm going to do this side first. So I'm going to go in through a stitch on this side, do exactly what I was doing before, but down my little T here. I'll put 2 single crochets there. Now I'm going to chain 1 and turn and crochet down my stitches of this side of my T, at least 1 stitch. The second stitch I think I'm going to put here to bring me back down. And then I'm going to try to get a couple of stitches on this side as well. 1 and 2. Then I'm going to chain 1 and cut my yarn. And then you can remove your marker. And you want to repeat the same thing for the other side of the bag, which I've already done this side already. And when you've got both of them complete, you can turn your bag inside out, or hide your tails at some point. And then you can see how your side has kind of an indentation here. It's going to look so much better than having such a square point on this side. Okay, and when you're done with that, I will show you how to do the handles. Okay, once you have your both sides sewn together, now you want to mark one of your sides where you're going to start your first stitch. That way you always know that this is where your first stitch is, because you're going to be working in one continuous row. You want to attach the color of the yarn that you want into this stitch and do a single crochet attachment by just pulling up a loop and pulling through 2 loops. Now for this round, we're going to be doing 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And at the end of this round, you should have 81 stitches or thereabout. If you have a little more or a little less, it's okay, because you can make adjustments on the next round when we'll be doing our single crochet decreases. So just for now, you want to be putting a single crochet where you would usually be doing your next bean stitch, and then there's a stitch on the top of the bean stitches. You can put it on and just keep using those 2 stitches on the top, and then when you get here, you'll be doing the bottom chain. So just keep single crocheting all the way around till you get to the beginning here. Okay, I've just come up to my beginning stitch again. So for round 2, we're going to be doing 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to be doing a single crochet decrease, which is going in through 1 stitch, pulling up a loop, going into the next stitch, pulling up a loop, then yarning over and pulling through all 3 loops. And you want to repeat this pattern of 1 single crochet and then 1 single crochet decrease. And you're going to be doing this for the entire round, and when you get to the end, you should have 54 stitches, but it doesn't have to be exact. If you have 60 to 54 stitches somewhere in there, then you're fine. It's not going to affect it too much. If you have 60 stitches, then it just means you're going to have a wider bag at the top. So at the end of this row, you should have 54 to 60 stitches. Okay, when you've reached the end and you have in between 54 to 60 stitches, then the next 3 rows, rounds 3 through 5, you want to just put 1 single crochet in each stitch around. And just keep it one continuous row. If you want to move your marker up here to mark your first of 3 rounds, but continue until you have 3 rows of single crochets. Okay, I'm reaching the end here. Then you want to slip stitch in the next stitch, chain 1, and cut your yarn long enough to be able to be worked in with the tapestry needle. So I recommend taking a moment, working in your tail with a tapestry needle and grabbing 4 stitch markers. Okay, I've got my 4 markers, and I want to count over 5 stitches here. I'm going to try to get it down the sides. Get your bag as even as you can. And then as evenly as you can on the sides, you want to count over 5 stitches. So I have 1 here on the end. Then I count this one and the one over. So these are 2 stitches, these are 2 stitches, and I have 1 on the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to mark this stitch on this side. And this stitch on this side. So I flip my bag over. Keeping these even. Go to the other side, same thing. 1 on the end, and then there's 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the end. And I'll mark these 2 stitches as well. 1 and 2. And now you want to choose the color that you want to use for your bag at the top, whether you want to stay with the color you're using here or maybe use what you used for your bag. But when you make your slip knot, you want to make it where you have enough tail to be worked in later so that you don't have any tail sticking out. So leave enough to be worked in with the tapestry needle. And then go in through this first place where you marked, which is here. So I'm going to go into this first stitch, pull up a loop, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, going through same stitch, 4 loops on my hook, yarn over, going through the same stitch, pull up a loop, 6 loops on my hook, pull through all 6 loops and chain 1. I'm doing the bean stitch again. And again, just like before, you want to skip 1 stitch, then go into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over, do this 3 times, giving yourself 6 loops on your hook, pull through all 6 loops and chain 1. I'm working in my last stitch here. Then when you get to the end, just like when you get to the end of the row, you want to chain 2 and turn. And then working again in these stitches that you worked in before, going to be doing your bean stitch again. And you want to continue to do this for, depending on how long that you want your strap. I think I'm going to go about 60 rows and see if I like it, because I like shoulders to hang on. I mean, I like this strap to be long so it can hang off my shoulder. And this is kind of a big bag, so just continue to 60 rows or until you get the length that you desire. And I'll see you back here in a moment. Okay, and I know I said 60 rows, sorry about that. You have to end on an odd number, so 59 would be great. So if you did 60, just back up one row. Now, when you've got your 69 rows done, you want to turn your bag inside out. Get your strap and line it up to your markers on this side. Sorry about that, someone's honk crazy outside. Okay, so what you want to do is insert your hook into this first stitch of the strap and then into your marker on this side and do a single crochet. And then again insert your hook on your strap and then on the next stitch. You have 6 stitches on your strap, but you have 5 marked. That's okay. You can always attach 2 in the same one or go for 6. Once you've got your connection, you want to go ahead and chain 1 and cut your yarn, giving yourself a long enough tail to be worked in with a tapestry needle. And then you can just remove all of your markers and work in all your tails. Turn your bag inside out. And that's it. That's how you make the bean stitch purse. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and that your purse comes out great. And if you like this tutorial, please don't forget to like and share this video, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.